From characters who etched their names in the series for bringing new layers of personality to the genre, to the ones that'll go down in history as some of the most psychopathic villains. Here are the best and worst characters from the Scream franchise. Let's start off with the face of these movies, Sidney Prescott. This really shouldn't come as a surprise since Prescott has been one of the most popular and loved characters in this genre for a really long time.
All over Sydney, everywhere. Everywhere. The other leg, too.
She was in high school when all the crazy things started happening in Woodsboro, and she had to find the courage and strength she needed to beat Ghostface quickly. And every single time this monster comes back, she uses her smart and brave ways to save herself and the people around her. Yes, Neve Campbell's character doesn't do any of the stupid things that people usually do in scary movies, like, I don't know, turn her back on Ghostface, drop her weapon so it could be stolen, or think the bad guy is dead after one shot. She's actually pretty smart, and that's what we all love about her. Then comes a character who literally could very well be one of the worst villains of the series, aka Billy Loomis. In the franchise, Billy is a huge fan of horror movies. He's got problems because his mother left him when his father cheated on her with Sidney's mom, Maureen Prescott. Yikes. Talk about having complicated relationships, am I right? Later, we find out that Roman has an effect on Billy and makes him decide to kill Maureen with Stu's help before killing Sidney and her friends. Something else about Billy, though, is that he's a master manipulator. With his boyish looks and creepy personality, he's the clear choice for the best villain in Scream. Wes Craven did such a great job making it clear that Billy Loomis was the killer, to the point where you no longer suspect him at all. There were times when the filmmaker made it so blatantly obvious it was him, but they also did a good job of giving us enough reasons to doubt him. I don't know about you, but I was confused as hell. Even when Billy is arrested and you think, I knew it was him, the killer calls Billy while he's in jail, and you again dismiss the idea that Billy is the killer. I think that's why it makes it even more shocking to find out that Billy has been the killer the whole time. Then, many of the franchise's most emotional and heartfelt moments come from our very own Woodsboro ex-sheriff, Dewey R. Riley. David Arquette's character, Dwight Dewey Riley, is an important part of the series. He's the deputy sheriff and then the sheriff of Woodsboro, and he is also Sidney's best friend. If I were to make an accurate description for him, I'd say he's the perfect mix of tough and sweet, because he has stood up to Ghostface more than once, and has a soft and sensitive side. Seriously, Dewey is the hero we all need, especially when Ghostface is chasing us. And even though he gets stabbed in almost every movie, and doesn't really help Sidney stop the Ghostface killers in most of the movie's final scenes, we all love him even more for his bravery and sheer determination to protect those around him. Hey, it's the thought that matters, right? I mean, the thought, or should I say intention, definitely matters when it comes to some of the creepiest characters, like Stu Macher. The thing that makes Macher really scary is that he is crazy and willing to kill for no reason. Kinda like the Joker in The Dark Knight. He has no reason to kill, so he says that Billy put him under pressure to do it. But Lillard's wide range as an actor is shown by the fact that Macher's character can turn on and off his murderous side by acting silly, carefree, and likable. So the fact that Stu was one of the people who killed Ghostface was a big surprise.
You hear that, Stu? I think she wants a motive. I don't really believe in motive, Sid. I mean, did Norman Bates have a motive?
No.
Did they ever really decide why Hannibal Lecter liked to eat people? Don't think so. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
Not to mention that Matthew Lillard's last scene as Stu Macher in Scream is one of the most famous scenes in the history of horror movies. To make Sidney feel even worse, Stu makes jokes about how Sidney's mom isn't pretty enough to be so promiscuous because she's no Sharon Stone. This shows how crazy Stu is, because he thinks it's funny to say that Sidney's dad-mom was too ugly to be a... yeah, you get it. Oh, and also, doing this while talking about a plan to kill someone. In the end, Stu's fear shows that he can be sorry when he wants to be, and you almost feel sorry for him. That is, until he tries to kill Sydney again. Man, you can never tell with this guy, can you? Then you've got a character who's easily one of the coolest ones ever in this genre. It's Randy Meeks, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so Scream is known and loved for being a self-referential satire of the horror genre with delicious social commentary, and Randy was one of the main reasons for this. Horror fans and movie fans in general both could relate to him and geek out over his character, and that's because he gave great speeches that cleverly explained the rules of the movie and its genre. He was also a character who knew a lot about movies. In the same way, Randy is an easy-to-like character who had many great character moments and used his smarts to help the other characters in the movie. Jamie Kennedy made the role his own and helped Randy become one of the most loved and relatable characters in horror history.
Surprise!
On that note, while he's a pretty appreciated character, there's also another character who's kinda liked for being super scary. Yep, I'm talking about Mrs. Loomis, who seemed scary because she didn't look like a typical serial killer at all. Honestly, she's high-key one of the best bad guys in the Scream movies, and her reason for wanting revenge and going on a killing spree is probably the most logical. Mrs. Loomis's husband had an affair with Sydney's mother, Maureen Prescott. After that, she left town and left Billy behind. Later, her son had so many mental problems as a child that he went crazy, killed a lot of people, and was killed by the daughter of the woman with whom her husband was having an affair. I mean, she had good reason to dislike Sydney so much, but I guess it's a bit complicated. In the last scene, when she says why she wants to kill Sydney, her anger comes through. You could tell she was angry because the look on her face could break concrete. Yeah, scary stuff. And now, ending this all off is a character that actually goes head-to-head with Sydney when it comes to being cool, and that's Gale Weathers. She's stubborn and determined, and she doesn't run away from danger. As a matter of fact, she loves it. I mean, we can all agree even Sydney might not have made it through some of the Ghostface killers without Gale Weathers. Her investigative journalism helps figure out who's behind these killings. Plus, she's such an unstoppable force of nature that she always gets back up for the final round, even after being shot or stabbed multiple times. Courtney Cox gives a perfect performance, which makes Gale Weathers even more determined. Her relationship with Dewey also gave the series some of its cutest moments. It also added layers to her character, gave her more to lose, and made her more interesting. And that's all for the best and worst characters from the Scream franchise.